The Blue Light, based on Wakam Muhammad Bashir's short story The Blue Light, written by Tejashri Kalakrin. A young man is walking around town, visiting the street vendors while his eyes drift towards the residences in the area. He longingly gazes at the houses as he makes his way back to a hotel.
No need for a date, month, or year. I was nearing my 30s and I was always on the lookout for a house, never finding one of my liking.
Abhilash opens the door to a decrepit hotel room and looks up anticipatingly at the bulb dangling from the ceiling.
The place I stayed in, which called itself a hotel, had 100 of falls and more.
The bulb comes loose and crashes onto the floor, and Abhilash sighs, picking up a broom and duster beside the entrance.
But who to complain to and where to go?
Once again, Abhilash is walking around town.
But that was before I found her. When am I ever going to move out of that dingy old hotel?
He turns his face towards an old two-storied house with the nameplate Bhargavi Villa besides the gate and a worn-out board on it reading for rent. His lips twist up into a smile. The more he stares at the house, eyes full of wonder. The house owner is showing Abhilash around the house.
This is it.
Abhilash looks around curiously as the two walk further into the hall.
4 rooms downstairs, along with a bathroom, kitchen, and water pipe. 2 rooms upstairs, along with an open veranda.
The house owner turns back to Abhilash.
The only thing missing is the electric.
I'll take it.
Wonderful.
Abhilash and the house owner walk out of the house together.
So we shall meet later today at the old hotel once you have settled your account with them.
Indeed, ma'am.
Out of the corner of his eye, Abhilash sees the water taps near a stone well in the yard of the house, secured with locks.
Oh,
Oh, that? Travelers always scale the compound wall and bathe at the taps, so I had them locked.
Abhilash nods in understanding, content with the explanation. Abhilash approaches the front desk.
good afternoon, sir. Could you please check my tab, please?
The hotel clerk gazes at him boldly and pulls out the register from beneath the desk before opening it.
Wait for a moment, sir. Let me see.
Here it is.
Abhilash approaches his friends, who are clerks at the bank.
Withdraw the saving from my account, Pillu. I have myself a new house.
Is that so? Very well.
Could I also borrow few 10 rupees along with it?
The house owner gives the keys of Bhargavi Villa to Abhilash. He receives them with unabashed joy.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Abhilash packs his belongings and folds his canvas coat and secures it. A couple of suitcases and a few boxes open around him. Finally, has all his luggage packed and ready to go.
Here we are.
Abhilash arrives at the house with a few men pushing a pair of carts with his luggage. The men quickly unload his luggage and dash off, while Abhilash is preoccupied in unlocking the gate. and he smiles to himself once the gate is open. Turning back to find the men, and pushcart's gone. He appears confused, peering down the street, left and right. But there is no sight of them. He moves towards his luggage and picks up a couple of boxes, trudging into the gate. Abhilash goes about sweeping the dusty floor of the bedroom upstairs. Abhilash pours a mug of water across the floor of the hall and sweeps the excess away. And then he holds a small copper vessel of holy water and sprinkles it around the hall with a couple mango leaves. Abhilash, now in fresh clothes, leans against the wall of the stone well.
Phew. Finally. Now I can relax a bit.
He gazes into the well over his shoulder before turning his entire body towards it and looking down curiously. He sees it is full of tangled vines and scans the ground, picking up a small pebble and dropping it into the well. A few seconds later, a tiny splash is heard.
Bhargavi Villa! Ayyo, sir! There was an unnatural death in that house.
Abhilash appears taken aback.
Unnatural death?
The well in the front yard. Someone jumped into it and died. There has been no peace in the house ever since. Many tenants have come out, but none stayed. At night, the doors would bang shut and the taps would open by themselves.
His face twisted in distress.
Some invisible force even tries choking anyone that dares sleep in that house. Did no one tell you, sir?
All that doesn't matter. The whole thing will just take a mantra to settle, and whatever it is, just bring my mail there.
He sits at a table island, drinking chai, while speaking to the manager, standing across the table.
I can arrange to send you food during the day, sir. At night, none of the boys will come there. A woman killed herself by jumping into the old well in the yard and still haunts the place.
His face eases up a bit upon hearing the ghost is a woman.
Aren't you afraid of ghosts, sir?
Oh, nothing to all that. Moreover, there's a mantra.
How foolish could you be? It's a haunted house, and mostly men are harmed.
Couldn't you have told us you were planning to take Bhargavi Villa rent?
Who knew it was like this? And why did the woman jump into the well, anyways?
Love. She was a 21-year-old BA graduate Bhargavi. She was in love with someone. Big love. Then the fellow married another woman and she jumped.
His face appears completely relaxed.
Bhargavi will not harm me.
And why is that?
Just because of mantra.
Abhilash opens the gate and glances at the well before making his way towards it. He stands by its wall and speaks into it.
Bhargavi ji, we don't know each other, but I have to come to stay in this house. I have already heard so many rumors about you that you don't allow anyone to live here. But I have already paid 2 months rent and I have very little money. Beside this is a lovely house you have got here. I must work here, write a few stories. Do you like stories? Bhargavi ji, I shall read everything right to you. I also have a first-rate gramophone, a couple of 100 excellent songs too. Are you fond of music?
Nothing but silence is heard. And Abhilash's face falls.
What I'm doing? Who am I even talking to?
He takes a moment before gripping the edge of the wall and exclaiming into the well.
Bhargavi ji, you don't need to do whatever you did. I'm not blaming you. Life turned bitter for you. That man did not love you enough. But had you lived instead of killing yourself, you would have found someone to love you, to adore you, to call you his goddess.
He steps back from the well.
Either way, please do not harm me. Even if you choke me to death tonight, there is not anyone to question you. I have no one.
Abhilash gazes down at his shoes for a moment.
Now you know how things stand. We, you and I are living here. You use the well and the rooms downstairs. And we will share the kitchen and bathroom equally, okay? What do you say?
A prolonged silence ensues. And Abhilash walks away from the well, slightly worried. He enters the house with a thermos in his hand, placing it down in the kitchen and looking over at the taps.
Maybe I should.
His eyes widen suddenly and he stares at the taps before rushing out with the thermos in hand. Abhilash is writing on a small desk with a kerosene lamp by his side. He pauses suddenly, glancing over his shoulder but seeing nothing.
I don't like anyone watching while I write. Sit down. Sit down on this chair, Bhargavi ji.
He attempts to continue writing, but find himself unable to. Gripping his pen and looking up to see the chair in front of him empty. He stands up and leaves the room. He paces back and forth in the hall. He approaches the window and peers down to see a flash of light disappearing just as soon as it appears.
Oh. Am I seeing this now? No. Probably a glowworm.
Abhilash attempts to read but cannot focus, and he prepares his bed to sleep. Then suddenly look towards his gramophone. Abhilash sets up the gramophone and plays Paul Robinson's Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho. The gramophone plays Pankaj Malik's Tu Dar Nazar Abhi. He's sitting in his chair, swaying to the music of M.S. Subhalakshmi's Katrini Varum Geetham. He hums to the tune of Segal's Soja Rajkumari as he closes the gramophone. And now he is asleep into his cot.
That's all for now. The rest tomorrow.
He closes his eyes. The only sound heard is the ticking of his watch. And soon enough, Abhilash is fast asleep. He wakes up, sitting up a bit excited.
Good morning, Bhargavi ji. Thank you so much. One thing is for certain. People are spreading false rumors about you. But let them talk, no? Who cares?
Abhilash is once again sitting in front of the gramophone.
Here's Pankaj Malik, the great Bengali singer. The song is filled with sadness and invokes memories. The bygone times. You know. Listen.
He plays Pankaj Malik's Guzar Gaya Wo Zamana. Then finishing planting a flower garden in the yard.
All the flowers for Bhargav.
He speaks in a whisper into the air. Behind him, a couple of people looking around.
Bhargavi, some of my friends are here. Don't strangle them, okay? Otherwise, the police will arrest me.
He opens the door to leave with a thermos in his hand.
Take care of the house, Bhargavi. If any thieves get in, you can strangle them. And just make sure dump the bodies far away from here.
Abhilash returns home.
It's me, Bhargavi.
He is listening to music with his gramophone.
All this I said in the newness of the first day.
Abhilash grabs his keys and walks out, shutting the door behind him.
But as time passed, I forgot Bhargavi.
He is tending to the flowers in his garden.
And she was reduced to mere memories.
Abhilash is writing away, completely absorbed in his work.
Until one night.
The light from his lamp grows dim, and he pauses in his writing to pick it up and shake it gently.
No oil? Just one more page.
He raises the wick in the lamp up higher and sets it down. He continues writing, and the wick grows shorter as he raises it higher until eventually it is left as a smoking red ember. Then he lowers the wick into the oil and turns on his torchlight.
How can I get some light?
Abhilash makes his way over to the bank. The moon disappearing as clouds fill the night sky, and it begins to rumble slightly. He reaches the bank and calls out to Balu.
Balu! Balu!
Hold on.
Abhilash is sitting on the floor at a small round table with a glass of water in front of him. In a slight daze, a couple of friends are seated with him while Balu fills his bottle with kerosene in the kitchen.
I need to get back and complete the story.
Couldn't you have asked your girlfriend to get you kerosene?
It begins to rain as Balu approaches with the bottle in his hands. Abhilash stands up.
Give me an umbrella too.
There's not even half of one. Play cards with us and leave when the rain lets up.
He sits back down as one of his friends hands out the cards and they start playing. Time passes until the rain finally stops and the clerks are ready to retire for the night.
It's already so late.
Abhilash stands up and Balu pats him on the shoulder.
Get home safe. Okay.
Of course.
Abhilash returns home and makes his way towards the stairs. He suddenly stops in his tracks and his previously calm face turns sorrowful. He tears up slightly, covering his mouth as he chokes on a sob.
Something has to be wrong. I am not one to cry.
He quickly climbs up these stairs and pauses as he reaches the top of these steps, his tears drying up.
Oh.
Light seeps out through the bottom crack of the door. Abhilash pulls out his keys and unlocks the door before opening it. He looks into the room and his eyes light up.
No. No.
The kerosene lamp he left behind is now lit with a blue flame. The entire room drenched in blue light. Thank you for listening. Now, here I am introducing you the characters. Abhilash, played by Vishal, house owner by Pooja, clerk Balu, and manager by Asan Habib, postman by Daniel, Rohan by Aman, Kamal by Saurabh, myself, the narrator, by Mansi Bansal, and our producer is Syed Hisham Labib.